Hi mamas, Emily here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, or thank you for joining if you happen to be visiting for the first time. Today's video is going to be all about how to handle and cope with labor contractions with confidence. So whether you are very set on having a medication-free labor, or you want to try to handle contractions as long as you can before getting an epidural, this video is going to set you up for success. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. So in this video, I'm going to be discussing the 3 parts to the first stage of labor, and that's going to be broken down into early labor, active or hard labor, and transition. So let's start talking about how to handle and cope with contractions during early labor. My first tip is to stay active as long as possible. Just because you're in labor doesn't mean that you need to lie down or to rest, not yet. So staying active as much as possible in those early hours of labor is going to really benefit you. Walking around is going to help get your baby's head to engage. My second tip is going to be keep yourself occupied in order to distract yourself from the discomfort of contractions. So whether that be reading a book, playing a game, watching TV, cross-stitching, knitting, crocheting, crafting, painting, drawing, anything to keep yourself distracted and occupied. My third tip is to get in the bathtub or the shower. Try doing some squatting in the bathtub or just getting on your knees, anything to stay upright to keep your head, to get your baby's head to engage and help open up that cervix. If you happen to be in the hospital for whatever reason during early labor, for example, if you are induced, don't let that be the reason to be chained to that hospital bed. Just because you're assigned a hospital bed does not mean that you need to stay in it the entire time. So if you can, try to walk the halls. If you have a Pitocin drip with you and your IV is hooked up to the Pitocin drip, take the Pitocin drip with you. Another really helpful thing to do is bouncing on an exercise ball or a peanut ball. You can also do circular motions with your hips. You can also do circular motions with your hips standing up or swaying with your feet a little bit further than hip distance apart. You can just rock from side to side, do circular hips. All of that helps to get your baby's head engaged and helps your cervix to open. Another thing I recommend is to do pelvic rocks. If you don't know what pelvic rocks are, I have a video explaining how to do that, and that should be playing somewhere on here. Pelvic rocks help to move your baby's head down into the birth canal and also relieves pressure. It's also really good if you're having some back labor. Whenever you have a contraction, stop what you're doing and let your body completely relax. Tensing up parts of your body uses excess energy that needs to be used for contracting your uterus and allowing your cervix to open. To be having a video pop up here explaining a little bit further how to do this.
So in these next few clips, I'm going to be demonstrating how to handle a contraction during early labor. I'm demonstrating first how to handle a contraction if you are standing up beside a bed or a couch. So once the contraction starts, bend over and place your arms on the bed or let your arms hang off the bed. Let your belly sag and relax your upper body as much as possible. This will allow your uterus to contract efficiently and eliminates unnecessary pain. This next clip is handling a contraction if you are up and moving around with your partner or support person. Once the contraction begins, face your partner and have them hold out their arms. Place your arms on top of theirs and let your belly sag and upper body relax. This last clip is demonstrating handling a contraction while lying on an exercise ball. You see me on my knees during the rest period, then once the contraction begins, I lay over the exercise ball. I focus on belly breathing and hanging as limp as possible. This position can be used during early labor, but it's also great for transition as well.
Once you feel as if the contractions are too intense to distract yourself during them, or you suddenly feel the very intense need to lie down, this is the perfect time to get into the side lying or relaxation position. Active or hard labor is when things really start to get intense, so it's important to have a lot of good coping strategies in your tool belt to use. Let's discuss. As mentioned previously, the best position to get into is the side lying or relaxation position. We're going to be going into a video clip next explaining all about what this position is, how to do it, and how to handle contraction when you're in this position. Let's watch.
In this clip, I will be demonstrating how to get into the relaxation position. You will need 2 pillows here. You will need to place one pillow between your thighs, and the other you'll rest your head and hand upon. Laying down on your side, lay one leg a little bit more over than the other. Do not stack your legs. As for your arm, place one hand and arm on the pillow and the other arm placed behind you. This position may feel awkward at first, but once you practice it enough, it will become second nature and will be very, very comfortable and relaxing. When in the relaxation position, it is important to belly breathe. Belly breathing is going to be more efficient and bring more oxygen to your uterus. Chest breathing can elicit a stress response in your body, which can cause fear, which can then lead to unnecessary pain and tension. The key to relaxation is to practice releasing each part of your body, as well as preventing tension from forming on your face. Holding tension in your face or in your jaw will automatically trigger tension to be held in other parts of your body. So focusing on a soft jaw and soft expression on your face will help to release other parts of your body as well.
Okay, so now that we've gone over the side lying relaxation position, I do want to talk about how to practice this. I do want to stress that relaxation is a learned practice. It's not something that's just going to come naturally, and it's not something that you're just all of a sudden, okay, I got this one in the bag. It's definitely something that requires commitment and something that you're going to have to do regularly. I do recommend doing some sort of relaxation practice in the side lying position daily. If not daily, then I would say 4 to 5 times a week. I started preparing about 3 months before my son was born, 2 to 3 months before my son was born. And doing the relaxation practice really helped. It not only boosted my confidence, but it also really helped to prepare me for when I was actually in labor. Let's discuss some helpful resources you can use while you're in labor, when you're in this relaxation position, and you can also use these resources when you're doing your frequent relaxation at home. One suggestion I have is to either do a guided imagery example or a meditation. There's tons of meditations on YouTube, or if you have a meditation app, you can also use that. Another thing that you can do while doing daily relaxation is listening to music. When I did my frequent relaxation, when I was pregnant with my son, I would just plug in headphones. I really liked listening to praise and worship music, or just very calming instrumental music. Bring music to the hospital to listen to music, make a playlist ahead of time, bring a little portable speaker or headphones so you can listen to your music while you're in labor. Another resource that I strongly recommend is birth or labor affirmations. Birth affirmations are quotes or inspiring words to keep you motivated and grounded during your labor and delivery experience. They encourage you, uplift you, and keep you centered on the end goal, which is meeting your baby. So you can either listen to affirmations in headphones, or if you have a little portable speaker, or you can have your affirmations read to you when you're in labor, or when you're practicing at home if your partner is wanting to be very involved with your practice. Before my son was born, I created a very long list of birth affirmations that I had my husband read to me when I was in labor, and I actually created a YouTube video of me reading these out loud. So if you want to click the little card somewhere up here to go check out that video. So if you want to use that video when you're either in labor or when you're practicing at home, your relaxation position, you can use that free resource. So let's quickly touch on if you're having some back labor. So if you're having a lot of back labor, this can signify that your baby might be in the posterior position. So let's talk about some ways to not only alleviate the pain, but also help get your baby to turn into that anterior position. You can first go on your hands and knees, maybe do some pelvic rocking. You can also put your foot up on a stool or on a couch or a bed. That can help take a little bit of pressure off of your back and help get that baby to turn. You can also have your support person doing some massage. So wherever feels good to have massage, you can try that. Also, some counter pressure is really, really helpful. Okay, so now that we've talked about how to cope and handle contractions in both early labor as well as active labor, let's now move on to talking about transition. Transition is the final step before getting to the second stage of labor, which is pushing. Transition is when your cervix is opening up those last few centimeters and can often be very, very, very intense. Transition is usually the shortest stage of labor, but because it's dilating your cervix in a very short amount of time, it can be very, very intense. If you do not plan on getting an epidural before you hit transition, then here are some coping strategies to help you with the transition contractions. My first piece of advice is to take one contraction at a time. I know that that sounds obvious, but once you're in labor, then you totally will understand what I mean. Especially when you hit transition, those contractions can be really sharp, really intense, really painful. And it can kind of freak you out thinking, oh my gosh, that was just one contraction. How am I going to handle the next one, the one after that, or the one after that? When is this going to be over? So just take one contraction at a time. Each contraction brings you one step closer to your baby. So one thing about transition is shaking is very, very common. It's just your body's physical response to labor. So because of the shaking, it's going to be really, really hard for your body to go into full relaxation. Try to eliminate as much tension as possible, as well as conserve energy by belly breathing if possible, sharp exhales during a contraction to try to untense your stomach, as well as positions that keep you comfortable and relaxed as much as possible. During transition, get into whatever position helps you to cope the best. So some good ones are being on all four, leaning onto an exercise ball, leaning against the bed if the bed is upright all the way. Whatever position feels best to you, try to get into it. And the nurses and your support person should help you try different positions to help you cope with the contractions as much as possible. Another thing that not only do I recommend, but if you feel like making noises during transition, do it. It really, really helps to just release tension. Trying to bottle up your emotions is going to hold tension in your body. So make noises if needed, moan, grunt. I sounded like I was in a barn, some type of like farm animal. I didn't care. At first I was a little embarrassed, but then I was like, you know what? I'm in labor. This is intense. I'm going to make as much noise as I need to. And it helped. It's very common to think, I can't do this anymore. I need an epidural now. When is this baby coming out? But for some reason, those are just typical transition thoughts. There's no truth to what you're thinking. You of course can do this. Your body was made for this. Your baby is coming soon. You got this in the bag. The fact that you're thinking those doubtful thoughts is a really great sign that you are almost dilated, transition is well underway, and you're going to be pushing soon and you're going to be meeting your baby soon. Okay, so those are all the tips that I have for handling contractions, but I do have some other generalized tips that I wanted to share with you as well. In terms of the ambiance of the room, whether that's your home, birth center, hospital, I strongly recommend quiet voices. So ask the nurses or have your support person ask the nurses to keep low voices and have the lights dim. comfortable temperature in the room, as well as any music or background noise that you want. Another tip I have is to not lie on your back. Lying on your back is going to lessen your blood supply to your baby, which could potentially put them into stress. And this position does not encourage your baby's head to engage into your pelvis. One thing that I have mentioned throughout this entire video is having a support person in place, whether that be your husband, your wife, your significant other, fiance, mom, close friend, whoever that person may be. Have them be not only your support person, but have them be your voice and your advocate during labor. Clue them in on your birthing preferences and have them speak for you. When you're in labor, you kind of enter this alternate state of reality, and things that you would think before, oh, I'm totally gonna tell the nurse this or the doctor this, it just somehow goes out the window. So have your support person totally clued in on your wishes, your desires, how you want things to go, and have them speak for you. It really, really makes such a difference. This support person can also offer encouragement, facilitate guided imagery, or read affirmations to you, keep the ambiance of the room however you like it, as well as keep you hydrated, fed, and reminding you to use the bathroom. Okay, so that is all for me today. Thank you so much for joining. I had so much fun making this video, and it is truly a labor of love for me. I'm so passionate about helping mamas with labor and delivery. It was such a beautiful experience, and I hope your experience is beautiful as well. If you liked any part of this video or found it informational or helpful, would you please give it a thumbs up? I would appreciate it. And if you want to see more videos from me, then be sure to subscribe and hit the little bell notification so you're notified every time I post a video. Thank you once again for spending time with me today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!